Portfolio Committee on Communications has now started interviewing candidates for position on the board of the SABC. The current board has only 4 members and cannot form a legal quorum. But proceedings appear to start late today. From what we understand, ANC members of the committee asked for more time before starting their interviews. Bulelani Philip, our reporter in Parliament, he's with me now. Bulelani, good evening to you. Why was there this delay this morning? Do we know what was going on behind the scenes there?
Well, good evening to you, Stephen, and to the viewers. Essentially, the committee was meant to have started sitting at around 9:30. But when we got there, we understood that a member of COSATU, who is a parliamentary liaison officer, actually handed in a letter to the chairperson of the committee. In a nutshell, the letter says that the COSATU is demanding that the people who have been shortlisted on the SABC board must have at least one candidate that will represent the labor sector. And according to COSATU, the shortlist, as it currently stands, does not have somebody that represents the labor sector. And they are quoting Section 13A of the Broadcasting Act, where it says that there must be that kind of a representative from the labor side. But of course, given that the issue that was raised by COSATU was raised at the 11th hour, the committee section of the ANC then decided that they needed to have a meeting in order to consider the view of this COSATU letter, and they therefore came back about 2 hours later, and then the meeting started. But of course, the chairperson made it clear that the interviews will proceed while the committee seeks legal advice from the Parliament's legal department. But for now, the threat by COSATU is still hanging. It's not yet been implemented. We'll have to wait and see tomorrow whether they will be approaching court on an urgent basis.
Okay, so Bulelani, the interviews started. One candidate, I understand, had publicly supported Claudi Motsoeneng, the former chief operating officer of the SABC. What kind of questions did he face after that public gesture of support some time ago?
Well, Stephen, the candidate in question, Nkosana Mbukane, was having a second bite at trying to serve on the SABC board. And again, there is a question that was raised to him, that was raised in the previous round, where he lists 2 cabinet ministers as his referees, or referees in his CV. And the question arises whether, how would he be able to act in the interest of the SABC when there are allegations of political interference? And of course, the other issue that was raised in relation to that was that the man in question actually penned a letter in 2016 where he was actually defending what he says was an attack on black executives. And the people that are mentioned in that letter are including the former SABC COO, Claudi Motsoeneng, as well as former ESCOM CEO, Mr. Brian Molefe, as well as former SARS boss, Mr. Tom Moyano. Of course, the letter too, you'll remember that they have been mentioned quite extensively, both in the State Capture Commission as well as the SARS Commission that's currently underway. So that's the context within which these kind of questions were arising. But of course, in his defense, Mr. Mbukane said that he did not have the benefit of information at the time, and in hindsight, he should have never actually defended those 3 individuals.
Bulelani Philip in Parliament, thank you very much indeed for your time this evening.